Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to this short review of The First Omen. Me and the lad went to see it yesterday in the cinema. I went down to Stevenage to see him for a few days, and we went to see The First Omen. So as always, I went into the film with zero expectations, and like I've always recommended to you all, when you go to see horror films or any sort of films, have a zero expectation, because then your disappointment levels will be a lot less. And sorry about that, Sullivan's having a bit of a bark, making sure he's okay. Yeah, he's fine. And so we went to see it with that sort of in mind, knowing that I absolutely adore the original trilogy of the films. Now, The Omen 4: The Awakening, which was I believe a TV film, I can't remember if I've seen it or not. If I have, I've got a very vague memory of it. So I'm not going to be putting that into this sort of franchise. But there again, I'm not sure if this one sort of leads into that as well as the original trilogy, because I think it kind of does. Now, this was unexpectedly awesome. We absolutely loved the film. Yeah, it's an absolute slow burn of a film. Really cool film. Now, I can't remember the name of the actress who played the main character in the film, but her performance was absolutely fantastic, and Bill Nighy's performance was absolutely awesome too. And of course, my favorite one of my favorite actors was in it too, and he played the priest that's in the Omen, the original Omen, that gets killed with the metal sort of cross from the top of the church down his back. If you remember that in the original Omen, he was also in this, playing him as a younger self. And this story is sort of based on a kind of it's kind of a sort of Roman Catholic sort of school, where you kind of think it is, but it turns out that it's not, because this school is not like, although they're dressed up as nuns and priests, they are not nuns and priests at this school. That they are, it's more of a Satanist sort of group that have been undercovered by showing themselves as this school, where we've got young children there, and we've got nuns as teachers, and sort of like, and it's run by like nuns and priests and things like that. Anyway, our nun's is gone to go there to take her final sort of vows, because she's at that stage of her nun life. And she goes there, and she's sort of like greeted by the main priest, who's played by Bill Nighy, who's fantastic. And he seems really friendly and lovely, and all the staff there are so lovely to her. They all sort of cuddle her and think how great it is to have you here. And she's sort of like a little bit overwhelmed. She's come from America to this place in Rome, and she befriends her sort of her roommate, who's also a nun. This is based in around 1971, and she goes out sort of exploring all the sort of parts of Rome and all this, but she senses something's not right. There's a young girl who's one of the pupils there, who's always in the bad room, because she's always behaving badly, but she seems to be drawn to this girl. And so she and this girl seem to sort of bond a sort of relationship. And then our nun starts to notice all these sort of things that are just not adding up right. There's just something not right. And she goes out on the town with to a disco with her roommate, and she meets a young man there who she supposedly they tried to convince her that she has she's been naughty that night, and she's sort of like made love with him and subsequently become pregnant by him. But it all appears around, because there is a jackal in the film, and the jackal, we get scenes of her sort of like being sort of tied down to this thing of this jackal hanging over, which we obviously believe is going to be the one that actually did make love to her and impregnated her. And the story sort of follows along her sort of pregnancy, and while they're trying to protect her, and all these sort of weird little things happen, these weird deaths. We even get a death from a nun in there who says the famous line, "It's all for you," you know, just like in the sort of the first sort of Omen film. Let me go and see what's up with Sullivan. Right, not sure what he was barking about, but as soon as I left the room, he stopped. So, but yeah, and you get this sense that these nuns and priests are sort of trying to protect this birth. She is in a very sort of mixed up place. She doesn't understand where or how she's got pregnant, well, apart from this guy. And the guy, she bumps into him one night and in the town, and he runs away and he catches up with her, and he succumbs to his death, quite grisly in the film as well. Very omeny deaths. And then the story sort of pans out and all sort of gets revealed in the third part of the film. Now, to me, the first two parts of the film I loved. It was fantastic. It was a very atmospheric, very eerie, religious horror film with, based in 1971. They've sort of really done really well with the filming and photography to make it really fit in with the original trilogy. As it does fit in. It's not made sort of like, it doesn't look like a modern day horror film. It looks like it could have been made to fit it in with that trilogy. Done amazingly. And I said the characters were fantastic. All the nuns are really cool. Our main character and her flatmate were fantastic, and Bill Knightley as the priest was fantastic, and so was Nigel as the other priest, who was absolutely fantastic. Really, really cool. I must apologise, I am terrible with names and character names. I cannot, it's just my old age brain. I just cannot remember them until I watch them again, sort of thing, you know. Like even Sigourney Weaver in Alien, I forget her name, Ripley, right? You know what I mean? I forget things, and it's just, I can't help it. So I do apologise in my reviews if I don't include a lot of names and stuff in them. You know, just accept that that's just me being me. If you want in-depth informations of names and careers and dates, please check out other channels, because you're not going to get them with me. You're just going to get my opinion and view of what I thought of that film, which I thought this was fantastic. Yeah, and it was, the pacing was very slow, but very, very engaging. And there's a few jump scares also in the film, which was really unexpectedly, because in the other Omens, I don't think I had a jump scare once. And in the sort of the third part of the film, which, would I say is disappointing? No. I wouldn't say it was disappointing, but it tries its hard to connect with the original Omen. And the story almost sort of narrates a little bit in the last part, which I think we can see what's happening. You know, you don't need to narrate it to us. And we know, straight away got inkling what's going to happen. She's pregnant, so we know who she's pregnant with, because this is before the first one. So we kind of know who that is. And it leaves a lot of questions about that, which I'll get to in a minute. And then there's a little added twist into there as well with the birth, which I didn't expect. And then that's when I think, is this connected to number 4 as well? So I'm going to leave that for you to watch to find out what that is. And then it kind of like not lost its way, but it sort of changed. Like I said, the first two were really building into this sort of like religious horror film, which was very eerie and spooky. And then the last part was like came out with the guns blazing, and it was like, oh, okay, you know, didn't if you'd have kept it all on the same level, I think I probably would have made this a 10 out of 10 film. But because that third quarter sort of explained everything, which we were kind of getting anyway, I thought that was a bit, you know, a little bit of a sort of slope down slightly, but still a fantastic film, really well done. Now, was this film needed? No, absolutely no. It didn't. You don't. It's one of those part of the franchise that didn't really need it, because the story doesn't add anything to it. It's a good film, and yeah, okay, it's it tells you the story of before the Omen. Supposedly, this is a version of it. Is it required? No, no, I don't think it was required. I mean, because those films stand as a complete story. So because it begins with Damien's birth to his demise, and I think, well, that is it. You don't need anything else to. But this tries to explain other things that happened before Damien came along. So it's not really required, but that hasn't taken it away from being an exceptionally good part of the Omen universe. It's one of the better ones. Obviously, number 4 I can't remember, so it couldn't have been very good if I've seen it. The remake, absolutely again, no need for it, and added nothing, brought nothing new to the franchise. Whereas this kind of did bring something. It sort of brought out some questions. And like the questions like me and the lad were talking about afterwards, like, hang on a minute, we thought Damien was born of a jackal. So again, we're confused a little bit like that. And I tried to fathom out with him, saying I think that was an excuse that they used because of the girl. They didn't want them to know about her and her history. So they sort of invented this. The priest that told him this in the first one, I think, was trying to protect of her and her story. So he said, "Oh, she was born of a jackal." That I kind of got that from that part of the film, but we were questioning that, and subsequently the last part of the film was, "Wow, what was that about?" But it was. The one thing I did love about the last part of the film was it integrated some of the original soundtrack, which was really, really cool, and sort of try and connects with the Gregory Peck story to sort of like link it through. So a lot of people probably went, but us horror fans already know this sort of thing. We don't need to be told that. But there we go. It didn't take it away from it. Really enjoyed the film. I would say definitely go and see it if you can. I highly recommend it. It is a great horror film. Now there's another religious film at the moment which is pretty much the same sort of film, and it's called Immaculate, and it's not based upon the Omen story. It's based on a nun who's pregnant from an immaculate source. So they're questioning, is this the rebirth of the second coming of Jesus sort of thing? And that's a horror film on its own, but brilliant too. So you got 2 to choose from. I recommend seeing them both. But the First Omen, if you're an avid Omen fan, yes, go and watch it. You probably might love it. I did. I thought it was really, really cool. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Till next time, check out some horror channels. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Designs, Pizzlewell, I'm the Ice Lord, Cat Watches Horror Movies, and Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House. I think he's also reviewed the First Omen on his channel. Haven't watched that yet, so I might go over and have a look at that, see what he thought. And of course, a massive shout out to my horror loving son, Lemon Lord. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, don't have nightmares, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.